Hello, world. These are the adventures of Super Chick. I'm Cecelia Sterling, and I have a story to share. So many, many moons ago, I was a young woman and had a very close relationship with an older cousin who was married and had a child. And something happened in their relationship. I don't remember the details, but she was telling me that in that particular moment, they were not okay. And in a larger sense, and she said, of course, in a larger sense, we're okay. Like the outer circle, we're okay. We're family. We love each other. We care about each other's well-being. We both care about our child. We're putting one foot in front of the other. But if we were just dating and that happened last night, like we're done. And I just sort of put it in my pocket. I didn't know what she meant in terms of my own life. I hadn't been in a marriage. I hadn't been in a long-term relationship that was years and years with an, investment in a child. But there was something about the metaphor that I knew was really important. Like a tool I'm going to need someday, a reference or story I'm going to need someday. And I'm currently in a pretty challenging season with my husband. And luckily now at this age and in this life experience, I understand that's very common. That's part of a long-term relationship. And I was thinking about, I can hear her words like she just said it 2 minutes ago. And I'm grateful for the gift that she gave me, for one. And for two, I thought, I'm going to share, I want to visit a different part of my relationship because right now I'm in it, right? And in a larger sense, we love each other and we care for one another and we both care about our child very much and we are together. But in that more intimate space, we're struggling. And so it just felt important to share a story from a time where the intimate space was really strong. And then that got me to thinking about how we met all together. And I thought, what a perfect love story to share around Valentine's Day. So come with me, if you will. Trip down memory lane. So I get a call one day from a theater company and they ask me to do both props design and costumes on a small show in a small theater. And I feel very seen, excited to get the call, need the money, haven't done a costume design on my own. At this time, I'd only done props design on my own and assisted in costumes. And I'm, woo, look at me getting this gig. Simultaneously trying to tell the universe that I no longer want to work in theater and I'm trying to shift out of this space in my life. And so I can't decide if I want to say yes to the experience and the money or no, because I'm done with this type of work. And I want to give a really clear message to the universe while wanting to pay my rent. And I go back and forth, and I just can't decide, And finally they call me again and they say, we need to know today. And I say, okay, I'll do it. So I go to the first production meeting with all the designers, and there's a set designer there who is very attractive, seems very talented, very smart, very articulate, funny. Oh, these meetings aren't going to be so bad, right? I'm a single young woman at the time. And funny enough, he tells me later that he also was really on the fence about doing the show, but ultimately decided to do it. So we go, production meeting to production meeting. That's the only exposure I have to him for, I don't know, a couple of months, maybe 3 months. Maybe we go to 4 or 5 meetings. And each time he's in a pair of Levi's and a white t-shirt and Chanel sunglasses. And it couldn't be better costumed for my preferences of the time and honestly, probably of any time. He's my style. Let's say that. And he's great. And I've got questions about this or questions about that, but whatever. He's the designer at the production meetings, right? And I we get to the point where it's going to be tech and we're actually going to be in the theater, putting clothes on people, building walls, like moving the props around. It's go time. And now we're going to spend more time together. And it's probably like 2 or 3 days that we're going to be doing this. We're like in it now. Concepts are coming to reality. And he text messages me a compliment one day, like while I'm working on the stage, and I'm seen, right? Like I feel like we're seeing each other in a similar way. And then that, and I, text message is brand new at this point. And I've got my little Razor flip phone. It's so cute. It's my favorite phone. And when I leave that night, I, respond, thank you, whatever, like let him know that that was received well. And then the next time I see him, he says, maybe we should go on a real date sometime. And I said, that would be great. And I haven't really been asked on many dates in my life. And I was excited about it. And so we go on the date. And we get drinks at this cool little lounge that was across the street from the cool little theater. And we have a really nice time. We have really long conversations. But ultimately, interestingly, while I'm like so into him, some things come up about what we want in our lives. And those things, we're not exactly on the same page. And so I think, this is going to be great to date him, a few dates, whatever. And then, we'll just go our separate ways because we don't necessarily want the same larger things in life. And that's okay. I feel really accepting of that. Although I'm pretty determined to I really want to get married and have kids at this time, but I can also enjoy my journey along the way. And so we have that day. We then get to, I think that, the final day of tech, and they're working on some of the finer details of this moment at the end of the show. And the show is just so charming. I think it's called The Long Journey Home. And there are puppets in it. And there's these really cool puppeteers involved who we're still friends with. This is a long time ago. There are some, the costumes didn't, it's low budget. So I'm not designing and having custom costumes made. I'm just finding pieces out in the world that will work. And there's some sort of Japanese themes that I bring into the costumes that no one in the world would ever notice except me. But I get to have this kind of creative say, this expression in the show, right? And so does he. So again, lower budget, but there's some things that need to be one thing in one moment and be a different thing in a different moment. And he thrives in that kind of, call it jerry rigging, if you will. But it's really magic making. Right? It's how can I think about this differently if I'm not just going out and buying the thing? How can I help build it to be what it needs to be at different times? Which somehow I just think is really important for relationships too. Anyway, one of the things that happens at the end of the show is there's snow. And there's a couple and they're having this intimate moment, and the guy just pulls the string and a bucket tips and it snows. And it's the simplest, most old-fashioned, beautiful, powerful, impactful moment. The lights on the snow and their connection are just so beautifully illuminated. And he did that. And I thought it was amazing. And while he understands how impactful it is, he's like, that's the oldest trick in the book, right? Not that big of a deal to him. But to me, he made magic on that stage. And at this time, where I can't always see beyond the frustration of a tone of voice or a life choice or a way of parenting. I think it's so important to revisit that beautiful connection that we had then and have now. Our shared skill in making days magical, even when real life can be so frustrating and challenging and even disappointing. And I want to remind myself and you that there really are these different layers, call them circles, call them what you will, to our relationships. And sometimes we're not where we want to be in one of them, but we might still be where we want to be in a larger sense. And I think that's the type of foundation that allows us to continue long relationships, right? And I guess I just want to remind us all, myself included, that sometimes we have to make our own magic, and sometimes we have to make our own snow. So happy Valentine's Day from my heart to yours. I'll say ciao for now. I'm Cecelia Sterling, and these are the adventures of Super Chick.